Steve Moran here with Senior Living Foresight, Foresight TV. I'm actually really pumped up about this particular episode. If you're a regular reader or watcher of Senior Living Foresight, Foresight TV, you know that one of my big passions is life enrichment. I think it is perhaps the single lowest hanging fruit that exists in senior living to make things better for residents, to make it more profitable for owners, to have higher occupancy. And so I get really, really pumped up about people who are doing new things particularly to create purpose for residents. I think too often residents are mostly focused on cruise ship things and kindergarten crafts. And I don't think that there are most people, I don't think most of you who are watching envision that for your future when you get into your 80s and 90s. And I think that needs to change. And so these two young ladies have created amazing platforms to really combat this huge loneliness challenge, this purpose challenge for older people in and out of senior living. I do want to say that. So we're going to jump into the conversation here in just a minute. Before that, I'm going to start with our intro. Hey guys, Steve Moran here. So I just noticed something a few weeks ago when I was watching that intro. I realized that they have the glasses tilted sideways like mine are. And I just noticed when I tilt my cup up, the cartoon, when the text actually rotates just a little bit to make it look readable. I'd never noticed that before. So, okay, so let's see. Who do I start with first? I'm going to start, Dana, with you first because I met you first, so no particular order. And Dana, tell us who you are and what you are doing and what your big dream is.
Sure. So my name is Dana Griffin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Eldera. And at Eldera, we're building an intergenerational platform where we connect generations, young and old, one-to-one and many at a time around the world for weekly virtual conversations and mentorship. And we're building Eldera on the vision that we believe that the time and wisdom of our older adults is the most valuable resource we have in society. And we're using technology to turn it into a new natural resource for the world. So that's what we do.
So I know what that means because I have played with your platform, but I think you need to walk me through the steps. So you have older people and you have other people, and what happens to turn that into a marriage?
So it is not a marriage. Let's start there.
Okay.
It is a pairing of two people from different generations who can benefit from getting to know each other. So what happens on Eldera is that older adults come and sign up on our website, eldera.ai, and they fill out a profile and they tell us about themselves. And the way they fill out the profile, we learn about what is really special about them and what they have to give to society. And then we ask parents to do the same thing for their children. So let me tell you, we have kids signed up from 22 countries around the world. And all of our mentors, all of our older adults are from the US, from 46 states. Ultimately, everyone comes to Eldera because they have something to give. So it is our job. Video, so there we go.
I don't know what I did there.
It is our job to understand where an older adult's time and wisdom is best connected with a young person's curiosity about life in a way that creates a strong, lasting bond for both of them. So I'll tell you, when older adults sign up for Eldera, they commit to taking one call with a prospective mentee. And after that one call, we give them the option to opt into weekly conversations. 94% of the time we do opt into weekly conversations. And in fact, it's completely voluntary, but stay in these conversations talking weekly. 70% of them still talk weekly a year in, which is honestly the dream of my life. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, Emily, let's gonna switch to you, and you're doing something that's sort of similar, but also quite a bit different. And so, talk to me about your vision.
Yeah, definitely. So, hi, I'm Emily. I'm the founder and current executive director of Perfect Pair, which is a nonprofit that, like Dana's, connects generations. We work with seniors in assisted living and then college-aged volunteers through individual one-on-one pairings. And we have kind of two goals. So, I actually volunteered in assisted living for pretty much my whole life, but all of college, and I found there to be a lot of room for growth, kind of like what you said earlier. I don't expect to turn 85 and all of a sudden become a bingo fanatic. I think we all have things that make us tick, that make us excited, whether it be art or family or religion or culture, things that like make us, who we are. And so that's the first goal, is to help through these one-on-one pairings, help the singers re-engage in their passions. And the second one is that connection. So having someone consistently there every single week to meet with each other. And so the volunteers gain a lot, the singers gain a lot. So that's kind of who we are and what we do.
And so, talk to me a little bit about the mechanics of how it works. So, I'm in a senior living community, and I am interested in helping to make these pairings happen with my residents. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we start with senior living facilities reaching out to us, and then we have them fill out resident match applications. And so again, trying to find what those residents love, what they care about, whether it be background, interests, hobbies, passions. We do the same for all of our volunteers in the program. And then we have an extensive matching committee that goes through each application. So for example, one of my favorite pairs, Enid and Melanie, they're wonderful. They were matched because they both grew up in New York City. They both speak Spanish as their second language. They both love to read, and they both are involved in theater. And so once that match is made, they start meeting weekly, and they first have like an introduction meeting to get to know each other. And then they can either just continue meeting and talking, or they can order activities. And so for Enid and Melanie, they do a book club every week. So right now they're reading The Great Gatsby together. And we provide those resources to both the volunteer and to the resident. They're also growing basil plants. They painted canvases in the past, and they speak Spanish at all of their meetings. And so a lot of our pairs do completely different things, whether it be getting connected to Veterans Association resources, or doing makeup and skincare, doing gardening, or just talking every week. Yeah.
And many of your pairings, matchings are in person, right?
So we do both virtual and in person. We're moving more to in person to kind of help with the singers who can't get on technology or don't enjoy connecting on technology as much, but we do both.
Gotcha. Well, I in both cases, I really love this. So, I'm going to blame my restarting my video intro on sort of still being half in vacation mode. We did a 2-week vacation, driving for 2 weeks, got back about late last night. And but one of the things that was really a highlight of the trip was that day before yesterday, we made a stop for about an hour and a half in where were we? Albany, Oregon. And the reason we stopped there is a young woman, young to me. I got to know her as a young teen and preteen in a church youth group I led. She's now married and has a 16-year-old daughter, so older than when I first know her, which makes me feel really old. But we've still maintained this connection, mostly by internet, for the last 20 or so years. And so it's a valuable relationship for both of us. And really, that's the kind of thing that you guys are talking about, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then Dana, yours are all electronic. They're all virtual, right?
Yes. All of our pairings are virtual because, we love so much what Emily does and what other intergenerational organizations do. But the truth is that there are millions of older adults out there who have so much to give. They have time to give, they have stories, they have wisdom to give, but they're either not close to a location where they can meet in person, or they might not be that mobile. So by doing it all virtual at Eldera, we really allow people to access opportunities to give back in a way that they haven't been before.
Okay, so I gotta ask the next question. What's it cost the residents, the senior community, to do this? And we're gonna start with you, Emily.
Yeah, we are a nonprofit, so it is completely free for our senior livings and for all of our residents.
Okay, perfect. That free is always good. And Dana?
We are not a nonprofit. We're a public benefit corporation. So we are creating a model that's scaling with our growth. Currently, Eldera is free for our members, but we do license the technology to connect young and old in meaningful ways to partner organizations such as the American Society for Aging. They are licensing our technology, and we're calling the program a Legacy Exchange powered by Eldera. And we connect the legends in the aging field with the young gerontologists just entering the field. So we're looking at different ways to scale our company. But right now, if you sign up on Eldera.ai as a mentor or as a parent, it's completely free.
Yep, and I've done all the work to sign up with Eldera because I've been on vacation. I haven't been matched with anybody because I haven't finished my orientation, which is part of the process. Yeah, so let's actually, and I think in some respects it's because there's less in-person interaction. But Dana, I want to talk to you a little bit about this, and talk to me about safety. As somebody who's worked with young kids for a long time, I spend a lot of time. I make sure that I'm very careful where I'm safe, where nobody can even make an accusation. But frankly, we know the internet is a favorite for some creepy people who want to prey on young people. How do you keep that from happening?
You know, the internet has the same type of population that the world has. So that means that we have to keep both kids and older adults safe. Hello.
You are breaking.
Emily, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Are we back?
I think we are. Well, I'm back. We're hoping Emily is back, so I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, so let me start by telling you how we approach safety at Eldera. First,
that's terrific.
Yeah, we criminal background check every single older adult that joins as a mentor as part of their onboarding process. This does two things. It keeps kids and parents safe, but also it keeps our community of older adults safe. Because when you join Eldera, you don't just join to do one-on-one mentoring. You join an entire community of older adults who come together with one purpose: to make the life of the next generation better. So that's number one. Number two is our community of mentors created training and onboarding materials for new mentors. So you will be not only welcomed in the community, but trained by the community to be a great mentor. Number three, we record every single conversation between older adults and kids. This allows us to actually look at what happened and service any type of issues that may have happened. And candidly, we've never had a complaint. But what we do get is at least once a week, one of the parents or older adults or mentors tells me, Dana, something really cute happened in our call. You should look at it. And I love that. They're tearjerkers, I have to tell you. So these are the ways that we keep everyone safe in our community. And, you know, when you look at the processes that we've implemented for safety, even compared to other online intergenerational or kids-related communities, we are really setting a new bar in what it means to keep our community safe. Because frankly, without safety, there's no trust. And without trust, we can't build beneficial relationships. And that's really our goal here at Eldera.
Okay, great. So Emily, you're working essentially with everybody who's 18 years old. So I guess it's probably a bit less of a concern for you. But is that something you worry about at all on this whole safety issue and steps to take with that? Maybe for your platform, it's less of an issue.
Yeah, definitely less of an issue, but always important, both for our volunteers and all of our residents. Like they're the most important to us, so protecting them is super important. All of our volunteers also record their meetings and also fill out volunteer logs after their meetings, and so we read through those every single week. We have a whole team reading through them to make sure that everything goes well. We have a check-in process, and we also have caregivers that are usually present for the resident, and then the volunteer has all of those extra steps as well.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about how somebody can actually plug in. So Emily, you don't cover the entire country yet, but you've got big, and it's sort of based on where you got local chapters. Is that the right? I'm not sure what the right term is. So talk to me a little bit about how people can find out where they can actually assess what you're doing and how that works.
Yeah, so we have been running for just over 11 months now. We're currently based in Ann Arbor, East Lansing, Michigan, so those two cities, and then Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And so we're looking for new chapters to start. So if anyone's interested in starting one, they can reach out on our website. And then any assisted livings in those areas, we're always looking for new partners. So they are more than welcome to reach out, as well as assisted livings in other areas, to see if we can get a chapter going there as well.
Okay, so let's actually walk through a little bit. I'm a senior living. I'm a life enrichment director or a executive director, and I'm saying, oh yeah, those are one of the cities I'm in. I want to do this. What would be the next step? What would that look like?
So the next step would be to either reach out via our contact on our website at perfectpair.org or to send us an email. We do set up a meeting and talk through all of the next steps in depth, but it would look like a building onboarding sheet, a conversation about what would best serve your residents, how we can best engage them, and then we start collecting resident match applications and start that matching process with our students.
And in the communities you're in, do you have a sense of what percentage of the residents who are interested in doing this?
Usually about 70 to 80% of assisted living residents.
Wow.
They love the program. And we've actually found too that once we get in the buildings and some of the residents start doing it, then they tell their friends about it. And so we usually have applications roll in as we get into a building.
Okay, I got to go on a soapbox here for a minute. I'm sorry. One of the challenges, the biggest challenge in senior living is we create too many opportunities for mindless, trivial activities. And I'm not saying there's not a place for that. There are tons of people who love playing bingo. As I participate in life enrichment activity, Facebook groups, I hear people talk about how there would be riots in the hallway if they stopped bingo. And we all need some of that. Every one of us likes to veg out and do things, but we need purpose. And this is about changing lives. So next week, we think we're having a team meeting with COVID restrictions. We're struggling with it. But as we were talking through it, we have one of our team members, Jack Cumming, who a lot of you who are readers know is 85 years, 85? I think that's right. Sorry, Jack, he's probably watching if I got it wrong. But, one of the things he said is, well, I don't really need to be there for that. And it's like everybody there, rightly so, including me, rightly said, no, we need you because he is, he has this wisdom, this bank of knowledge inside his head. And I just, I think when I look at what you're doing, Emily, I think every business student ought to be, in any university, any chapter ought to be signing up with somebody who was in business for 40, 50 years and was successful enough to be able to afford senior living is somebody that they ought to get to know, right? And so I just, and when you tell me 70 or 80% of residents in a building want to do, it just tells you that there's this great hunger for it, because I guarantee you there's not a single activity that happens in a senior living community, except maybe dinner, that gets an 80% participation rate, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That is crazy. That is really, really cool. So.
Yeah, we really, when we create our activities, we sit in a room and we say, if we wouldn't want to do this ourselves, we're not going to offer it to the residents. And so I think that's really important. And I know when I was volunteering in assisted living, a lot of the things weren't that interesting. Sitting around a TV and doing the around the world type of stuff can be fun for a little bit, but there's a lot more. And a lot of the seniors that we work with, a lot of the residents have a lot of things that they care about, that they love, and that they want to keep engaging with.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that the other stuff that shouldn't be done, because I know there are a lot of people who are really satisfied with that.
Definitely.
But I will tell you the idea that when I look at pictures that are posted proudly, again, sorry for being insulting, I sort of look at that and think, man, that's not what I want. So, Dana, let's talk a little bit about how a senior living community would start working with you and what that would look like.
Working with us is very easy. I would invite anyone who's managing a senior living community to contact us through the website or email me directly at dana@eldera.ai. But ultimately, we can just invite the mentors, the members directly as long as they fulfill a few criteria, they can sign up directly through our website and start using Eldera. And here's the criteria that they need to have. They need to have an internet-connected device that can access Zoom. They need to have a generous spirit and a curious mind, because the values that drive Eldera are generosity, curiosity, and gratitude. So if you have those and you pass the background check, hopefully, then from there we take over and our community embraces each individual and gets them ready for mentoring. And also get them ready to be part of the community. One of the really cool things that our mentors have been doing, which, by the way, our mentors range between 60s and mid-90s. But one of the cool things they've been doing is they've been coming together and saying, Dana, Jules is my co-founder, you guys need help, let us help. So we literally have the most incredible, well-educated, successful group of generous older adults joining Eldera, and not only are they contributing their time and wisdom to kids from around the world, but they are also contributing to building Eldera with us. And we want to invite every single older adult who has a little bit of time on their hands and believes in our mission of creating a place where older adults have a purpose to join us. Join us to mentor us, and join us to build Eldera with us.
So what I love about what both of you are doing is that one of the naturally occurring side effects of what happens in senior living community. I was talking to somebody recently who lives in a senior living community and still does a little bit of consulting work. But what they described to me was that once they moved into a senior living community and would tell people that they lived in a senior living community and were still doing consulting, the immediate perception was that they probably weren't really competent anymore, which simply wasn't true. And in fact, I just published an article where I've got to go back and look at it, because I just saw a quick note in the email today where somebody read something I wrote and said, "Are you really at age 66 living in a CCRC?" And there was apparently, again, if this person is watching, I apologize if I'm mischaracterizing it, because I just sort of glanced at the email, but there was sort of this, why would anybody who's age 66 move into a senior living community? It's kind of a shame that that's the way, but the reason is that somehow it's like surrendering and saying you're not, you're losing capability rather than having a better life. So,
it's interesting that you bring that up, because I just visited a senior living facility in Brooklyn, here in New York, where I live. And I have to tell you, I could live there now, and I'm 39. I mean, it was beautiful, and people were fun, and they were engaged, and it looked like Soho House for older adults. And I was like, wait a second, this is amazing. So I don't see why that would be not a desirable outcome. And actually, I know there's a lot of very interesting models out there of older adults co-living or living with other generations, because it's fun, because this is what we do as humans. We come together. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, for me, frankly, the biggest downside of senior living is the lack of intergenerational experiences. And it's unfortunate because a lot of that is forced by government regulations. So, you couldn't, in most states, maybe all states, you could not do an assisted living and then have every third unit, somebody who is aged, 20 or 30 or 40 or something like that. And they're not, and I do recognize these are not easy challenges, right? I love having my grandkids go around, but even at my relatively young old age, I'm also glad when they go home with their parents too. So those circumstances change over time. So this is so cool. I just, my heart sings when I hear about these experiences. I'm going to sort of give each of you to kind of give a sort of a 1-minute summary pitch. Make sure you tell us how to get in touch with you. And then I would just encourage the audience to really take a look at this as a great way to make a difference for your residents. And if you want to talk about it from a dollars and cents, honestly, it's a great way to improve. It does, not only does it make people live longer and happier, but it really reduces the workload for team members, because when people are happier, they don't complain and they don't demand as much. So, Emily, we'll start with you.
All right. So, perfect pair again. Oh,
go ahead.
Perfect pair, we match college students and residents of assisted living, providing both connection and also programming across a variety of different activities to just engage both parties. And so, again, like we've been talking about a lot, connecting generations is super important. And so we're doing that both for our college volunteers and for our residents. And so to find us, you can go to perfectpair.org. Our email's listed on there. It's perfectpairnational@umich.edu. You can also contact us through our contact on the website, and we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. And Dana, so I'll give 1 more minute from you guys. You.
Sure. Well, I would love to invite every older adult who has something to give, even from the comfort of their home and couch, to sign up for Eldera and find the ways to contribute to society and join other older adults that are like them. And trust me, we've developed a process and a protocol where we can help you identify what you're really good at and what's your special gift that you have to give to society. And then we connect you with people who can benefit from it. So there's so much research around why this is good for older adults, why you're going to learn, why you're going to have fun. But most importantly, the number one benefit that both older adults and kids express about Eldera is joy. So if you're ready to have a little fun and learn from other people like you and join our community, please sign up at eldera.ai.
Perfect. And the one, I guess the one last thing I would just say is that I, this is world changing things in my view. It gives us the ability, at 66, I'm so much smarter than I was when I was half that age. And, the hardest part in some respect is to realize that one day I'll take my last breath, right? And all that knowledge and wisdom I've acquired is gone. And so ultimately the one thing that I can continue to pass on to other generations is who I was and that wisdom. And we seem to be hardwired to have great satisfaction when we make that kind of a difference in people's lives. So we'll drop the email addresses or the website addresses into the first comment or into the comments and into the description for all the places this is broadcast as soon as it's over. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is really cool, world-changing, resident-changing things that you do. So with that, we're going to sign off. I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe, and if you're in my part of the country, stay cool because it's really hot here. So talk again. We'll be back on next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.